Okay, so last three shlokas are remaining from this chapter 4th of 9th canto, and this section which we are discussing today, which is going on now, which is 63 shloka to 71 shloka. This section is talking about that how Lord Vishnu is glorifying his devotees and sending back Durvasa Muni to Ambrish Maharaj. Okay, so in this section from 63 to 71 till 68 shloka we have completed yesterday. Now 69 shloka onwards today we are going to discuss. Yes? Okay, very nice. उपायं कथयिष्यामि तव विप्र शृणुष्वत अयं हि आत्मा विचारस्ते यतस्तं याहि माचिरं साधुषु प्रहितं तेजः प्रहर्तु कुरुते शिवम्. Upayam, the means of protection in this dangerous position. Katishyami, I shall speak to you, Tava, of your deliverance from this danger. Vipra, Brahman, Srunishwa, just hear from me. Tat, what I say, I am this action taken by you. He indeed, Atma Avichara, self-envy or envious of yourself. Your mind has become your enemy. Te, for you, Yatha, because of whom, Tam, to him, Maharaj Ambrish, Yahi, immediately go, Machiram. Do not wait even a moment. Sadhushu unto devotees. Prahitam applied. Teja power. Praharatu of the executor. Kurute does Ashivam inauspiciousness. So that's there. Here this section is very important. Why? Because generally it is said that Lord Vishnu, anybody who takes shelter of Krishna, Vishnu, he is always saved. Okay, because Brahma may say no Shiva, but if somebody goes to Shiva, even Lord Vishnu has promised, Lord Ramchandra has promised that if somebody comes to my shelter, I protect him always, in all the condition. Even to Ravana he said, I will forgive him. But here, when Durvasa Muni went, Vishnu said, sorry, I cannot help you. Okay, so why he said, that is important, because here Durvasa Muni is asking shelter. Why? Because he is afraid. Why? Because he is going to be killed. Why? Because he did offense toward a Vaishnava. So because he did offense to a Vaishnava, and for protection he is going to Vishnu. Vishnu said, I cannot help you. If you want any help, go to Vaishnava only. Same Vaishnava. Okay, so that's the point. If somebody does any offense to a Vaishnava, even Vishnu cannot protect him. And then there left only one option. What is that? That he should go and ask forgiveness from that Vaishnava only. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhakti Vedant Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Brahmana, let me now advise you for your own protection. Okay, please hear from me. By offending Maharaj Ambrish, you have acted with self-envy. Therefore, you should go to him immediately, without a moment's delay. One so-called prowess, when employed against the devotee. One so-called prowess, when employed against the devotee, certainly harms him who employs it. Thus, it is the subject, not the object, who is harmed. Okay. So, summary is, you offended Maharaj Ambrish, so go to him now. He only can do something. Purport. A Vaishnava is always an object of envy for non-devotees. Non-devotees always have envy with Vaishnava. Even when the non-devotee happens to be his father. Okay, Prabhupada is writing that a Vaishnava is always an object of envy for non-devotees, even when the non-devotee happens to be his father. Even though a father is there who is not devotee, he will have envy with the son, because son is devotee of Krishna. So to give a practical example, Hiranyakashipu was envious of Prahlad Maharaj, but this envy of the devotee was harmful to Hiranyakashipu. not to Prahlad. So this envy became harmful to Hiranyakashipu only. So every action taken by Hiranyakashipu against his son Prahlad Maharaj was taken very seriously by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus when Hiranyakashipu was on the verge of killing Prahlad, the Lord personally appeared and killed Hiranyakashipu. Lord took everything very seriously. So any offense done towards the devotee of Krishna, Krishna takes it very seriously. Sometimes Krishna may not take seriously offense done towards him, but he will always take offense seriously which is done against his devotee, a Vaishnava. Okay. So service to a... So every action taken by Hiranyakashipu against his son Prahlad Maharaj was taken very seriously by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus when Hiranyakashipu was on the verge of killing Prahlad, the Lord personally appeared and killed Hiranyakashipu. Service to a Vaishnava gradually accumulates and becomes an asset for the devotee. Service to a Vaishnava gradually accumulates and becomes an asset for the devotee. So this is very nice. Offense is very dangerous. Service to Vaishnava is very favorable. Okay. So service done to Vaishnava again and again and again, those services which are done, they will accumulate all together and they will become a big asset for a devotee. Similarly, harmful activities directed against the devotee gradually become the ultimate cause of the performer's fall down. So what happens is actually if somebody is very much envious towards a devotee, so what and all, out of envy, what and all activity he will do towards that devotee, then all those things will accumulate and one day they will become a very big dangerous thing for this devotee who was envious. So even such a great Brahmana and mystic yogis as Durvasa was in most dangerous situation because of his offense at the lotus feet of Maharaj Ambarish, a pure devotee. Maharaj Ambarish was a pure devotee, that's why whatever offense he did, Durvasa Muni, everything became dangerous for him only. Even though he was such a great Brahmana and a mystic yogi, but he could not save himself. So that's the point. So, Krishna is saying, I'll clearly tell you how you can, the method of your protection, your deliverance. Please listen. Go to Ambarish Maharaj, the same person whom you offended, whom you cursed in order to kill. He is merciful and will save you. So no one else can, other than okay, so other than Ambarish Maharaj, nobody can save you. And he is merciful. Vaishnavas are always merciful. He will forgive you, he will save you. So no one else can save you other than him. So you should not think that Ambarish Maharaj will harm you since he is a devotee. So you should not think this thing, that if I go to Ambarish Maharaj, he may also harm me, he may not forgive me. No, he is a devotee, pure devotee. He will definitely forgive you. He will definitely save you. Why? Because he is sadhusu. He is a sadhu. Okay. 70th shloka. तपो विद्या च विप्राणां निःश्रेयस करे उभे ते एव दुर्विनीतस्य कल्पेते कर्तुर अन्यथा. Tapaha, austerity is vidya, knowledge also vipranam of the brahmanas, nishreyasa of what is certainly very auspicious for upliftment, kare or causes ube, both of them te. Such austerity and knowledge eva indeed durvinitasya, when such a person is an upstart, kalpete become kartu of the performer, anyatha just as a project. So for a Brahmana, austerity and learning are certainly auspicious. For a Brahmana, austerity and learning are certainly auspicious, but when acquired by a person who is not gentle, such austerity and learning are most dangerous. What a principle. If a person is gentle, humble, then these things, knowledge, austerities, learnings, these things are very beautiful for him, very auspicious. But if he is not gentle person, then all, same austerity and learnings becomes dangerous. Okay, that's what Krishna is saying. So it is said that a jewel is very valuable, but when it is on the hood of a serpent, it is dangerous, despite its value. So, because generally it is money, jewel is very beautiful, very valuable, but it is on the hood of the snake, then it is very dangerous. Similarly, when a materialistic non-devotee achieves great success in learning and austerity, that success is dangerous for all society, all of the society. Because he is a non-devotee, but he somehow did some success in learning and in austerity. So that is very dangerous for the society. So-called learned scientists, for example, invented atomic weapons that are dangerous for all humanity. It is therefore said, Manina bhushitaha sarpaha kim asau na bhayankaraha. A serpent with a jewel on its hood is as dangerous as a serpent without such a jewel. So one should not think like that. Okay, that this is a serpent without jewel, this is a serpent with jewel. So serpent without jewel is more dangerous, but serpent with jewel is okay, less dangerous. No, serpent is very dangerous. So non-devotee is very association of non-devotee is very dangerous. Okay. So on the, that's why austerity and learning may be there, but if they are with the non-devotee, then it is very dangerous. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so Durvasa Muni was a very learned Brahmana, equipped with mystic power, but because he was not a gentleman, he did not know how to use his power. Okay, so Durvasa Muni was a very learned Brahman, equipped with mystic power, but because he was not a gentleman, he did not know how to use his power. He got so much power out of his austerity, but still he don't know how to use his power. That's why he always getting angry and giving curse to many people. So he was therefore extremely dangerous. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is never inclined toward a dangerous person who uses his mystic power for some personal design. Okay, some personal desires are there, some motives are there. For that purpose, a person using his mystic powers for that person is very dangerous, and Krishna is never inclined towards that person. So by the laws of nature, therefore, such misuse of power is ultimately dangerous, not for society but for the person who misuses it. Okay, so how is it possible that a Kshatriya like Ambrish is capable of delivering me, endowed with austerity and knowledge? Durvasa Muni can say, Krishna saying, go to Durvasa Muni, go to Ambrish Maharaj, he will save you. So Durvasa Muni may say that how is it possible that he is Kshatriya, I am a Brahmana, so much learned, so much I have austerity, but he is a Kshatriya, how can he protect me, how can he deliver me? So Krishna is saying that austerity and knowledge cannot exist in you since you are not qualified. Rather they become the opposite. Knowledge and austerity in a person of bad conduct produce opposite results. Okay, very dangerous thing. Brahmam sutad gaccha bhadram te nabhag tanayam nirpam Chamapaya mahabhagam tad shantir bhavishyati Brahman. O Brahman, tad therefore gaccha you go bhadram, all auspicious te, and to you Nabhag Tanayam, to the son of Maharaj Nabhag, Nirpam, the king Ambrish. Chamapaya, just try to pacify him. Mahabhagam, a great personality, a pure devotee, tata, thereafter Shanti, peace. Bhavishyati, there will be. O best of the Brahmanas, you should therefore go. Therefore, you should go immediately to King Ambrish the son of Maharaj Nabhag. I wish you all good fortune. If you can satisfy Maharaj Ambrish, then there will be peace for you. So Krishna said, okay, Tata, bye bye. If you want any protection, go to Ambrish Maharaj. If he can say if you can satisfy Maharaj Ambrish, then you will be happy, peaceful. Otherwise, okay. So go fast to Ambrish Maharaj and please him. So in this regard, Madhva Muni quotes the Garuda Purana. Brahmadi bhakti koti amshadamso nevam varishkeneva namanasya chakrasya pitah thapi harir ishwaraha tatkaliko pechayetah pesham yashasha adirat brahmadayasya tat kirtim venjayam asur uttamam mohanaya cha दैत्यानाम ब्रह्मादे निंदनाय चान्यार्थम च स्वयं विष्णुर्ब्रह्मादयाश्च निराशिषः मानुषेषु तामत्वाच च तेषां भक्त्यादिभिर्गुणैः ब्रह्मादेर्विष्णु अधीनत्व ज्ञापनाय च केवलं दुर्वासाश्च स्वयं रुद्रस्थापि अनायाम उक्तवान्तस्यापि अनुग्रहार्थाय दर्पनाशार्थम एव च. Prabhupada quoted this from Garuda Purana. What is that? The lesson to be derived from this narration concerning Maharaj Ambrish and Durvasa Muni is that all the demigods, including Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, are under the control of Lord Vishnu. Therefore, when a Vaishnava is offended, the offender is punished by Vishnu, the Supreme Lord. No one can protect such a person, even Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva. Okay. So thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th canto, 4th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Ambrish Maharaj offended by Durvasa Muni. Okay, chapter 5. So now Ambrish Maharaj is got instruction from Lord Shri Krishna that you should go to Maharaj Ambrish, he will protect you. So now chapter 5 is Durvasa Muni's life spared, how he got saved. Okay. So in this chapter we find Maharaj Ambrish offering prayers to the Sudarshan Chakra, and we find how the Sudarshan Chakra became merciful to Durvasa Muni. By the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, Durvasa Muni immediately went to Maharaj Ambrish and fell at his lotus feet. Maharaj Ambrish, being naturally very humble and meek, felt shy and ashamed because Durvasa Muni had fallen at his feet, and thus he began to offer prayers to the Sudarshan Chakra just to save Durvasa. What is the Sudarshan Chakra? The Sudarshan Chakra is the glance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by which he creates the entire material world. Sa Aikchat Sa Asrajat. That this is the Vedic version. The Sudarshan Chakra, which is the origin of creation and is most dear to the Lord, has thousands of spokes. This Sudarshan Chakra is the killer of the progress of all other weapons, the killer of darkness and the manifester of the progress of devotional service. It is the means establishing religious principles, and it is the killer of all irreligious activities. This is all glorification of Sudarshan Chakra. So without his mercy, the universe cannot be maintained, and therefore the Sudarshan Chakra is employed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when Maharaj Ambrish thus prayed that when Maharaj Ambrish thus prayed that the Sudarshan Chakra be merciful, the Sudarshan Chakra being appeased, refrained from killing Durvasa Muni, who thus achieved the Sudarshan Chakra's mercy. Durvasa Muni thus learned to give up the nasty idea of considering a Vaishnava an ordinary person, Vaishnava Jati Buddhi. And Maharaj Ambrish belonged to the Kshatriya group, and therefore Durvasa Muni considered him lower than the Brahmanas and wanted to exercise Brahmanical power against him. By this incident, anyone should learn how to stop mischievous ideas of neglecting Vaishnavas. After this incident, After this incident, Maharaj Ambrish gave Durvasa Muni sumptuous food to eat, and then the king, who had been standing in the same place for 1 year without eating anything, also took prasad. Maharaj Ambrish later divided his property among his sons and went to the bank of the Manas Sarovar to execute devotional meditation. So in this way, how Durvasa Muni got protected, and then how Maharaj Ambrish went for doing bhakti, how he renounced everything. So this chapter 5 from 3 to 11, Ambrish Maharaj offers prayers to Sudarshan Chakra. Okay, and then 3 to 11, Ambrish Maharaj offering prayers to Sudarshan Chakra, and 12 to 17, Durvasa Muni glorifies the qualities of Maharaj Ambrish, and then 18 to 24, Maharaj Ambrish honors Durvasa Muni, and then 25 to 28, Maharaj Ambrish renunciation and Falashruti. Okay, so in this way, this 5 chapter is started here. 5th one. So 5th chapter I just read the summary, and then text 1 onwards we will do tomorrow. Okay, so time is still there, but next chapter is, I am thinking, we start tomorrow onwards. And if you have any question, that we can ask. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Prabhupada ki jai.